The Commission for Independent Education has changed the way schools will participate remotely in meetings. Moving forward, CIE will be using Zoom Webinar, and there are a few differences to be aware of. The first process to be aware of is registration. When you click on the invitation link on CIE's home page, you will be taken to a registration page. This page has 5 questions that must be filled in: first name, last name, email, confirmation of your email, and organization name. After you register, you will receive an email that includes the Zoom link to access the webinar. Please do not share this link, as it will only work with one device per registrant. If you have multiple people calling in, they should all register individually. On the day of the meeting, we advise you to have only one device in the room. Multiple devices in the same room can lead to audio problems that make it difficult for the commissioners to hear you and for you to hear them. If you have multiple people from your team on the call, they should all be in separate locations. When the meeting starts, all of the schools will be listed as attendees. Attendees cannot display their video camera and cannot turn on their microphone unless asked to do so by a moderator. But attendees can ask questions using the Q&A feature. Please note, questions are displayed publicly, so do not put any sensitive or private information in the Q&A. During the meeting, when your school is recognized, you will need to raise your digital hand, which will help moderators find you in the list of attendees logged into the meeting. When this happens, you will be asked to unmute your microphone. Once you unmute yourself, you will be able to speak. If you call in using a phone instead of a computer, you can raise your digital hand by pressing *9 and unmute yourself by pressing *6. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting. The Commission for Independent Education has changed the way schools will participate remotely in meetings. Moving forward, CIE will be using Zoom Webinar, and there are a few differences to be aware of. The first process to be aware of is registration. When you click on the invitation link on CIE's home page, you will be taken to a registration page. This page has 5 questions that must be filled in: first name, last name, email, confirmation of your email, and organization name. After you register, you will receive an email that includes the Zoom link to access the webinar. Please do not share this link, as it will only work with one device per registrant. If you have multiple people calling in, they should all register individually. On the day of the meeting, we advise you to have only one device in the room. Multiple devices in the same room can lead to audio problems that make it difficult for the commissioners to hear you and for you to hear them. If you have multiple people from your team on the call, they should all be in separate locations. When the meeting starts, all of the schools will be listed as attendees. Attendees cannot display their video camera and cannot turn on their microphone unless asked to do so by a moderator. But attendees can ask questions using the Q&A feature. Please note, questions are displayed publicly, so do not put any sensitive or private information in the Q&A. During the meeting, when your school is recognized, you will need to raise your digital hand, which will help moderators find you in the list of attendees logged into the meeting. When this happens, you will be asked to unmute your microphone. Once you unmute yourself, you will be able to speak. If you call in using a phone instead of a computer, you can raise your digital hand by pressing *9 and unmute yourself by pressing *6. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the October 22nd, 2024 Commission meeting. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and turn it over to Vice Chair Williams.
Morning. It's good to be back. It has been a chaotic few weeks for all of us, and even though we're not in person here, I'm still excited to be here. I'd like to call the meeting to order. This is the Commission for Independent Education. I'm Trey Williams, the Vice Chair. Well, chairing today, I suppose. Today is October 22, 2024, and this meeting was rescheduled from its former date in September 26 due to Hurricane Milton. Ms. Hood, it's always great to have you around. Could you please call the roll?
Good morning, everybody. Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner Whitaker.
Here.
Commissioner Cross.
Here.
Commissioner Taylor Ellis. Commissioner Marty. And Commissioner Stefano.
Here.
Outstanding. It's now time for the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please stand. Commissioner Cross, would you lead us?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right. I am navigating this on two different screens at the same time, guys, for both content and script. So if you give me a moment here. I was supposed, given what was read earlier, Director, that we are probably moving to approval of minutes.
So we are going to the welcome section just to let the audience know their viewing options and how to log into the meeting.
Okay, I'll be happy to read that. So this meeting has two viewing options as follows, and you can only use one of them. Navigate to the Commission's agenda information webpage and click on the webcast link available for the desired day. Today's agenda addresses degree granting institutions. These links will direct you to a live video feed of the meeting that will be used for viewing purposes only. This option does not allow anyone to communicate with the Commission or staff. Please use option 2 if you'll need to communicate with the Commission during today's meeting, including institutions on the agenda. Navigate to the webcast links referenced a moment ago and locate the Zoom webinar registration link under the video link. There is a separate registration link for each day, today being the 22nd, tomorrow the 23rd. You must register separately for each day. This link will send a confirmation email that contains additional instruction on how to proceed with viewing the meeting. Please note the following: a separate registration is required for each user, as shared logins are not allowed. When registering, please enter your school name as it appears on the agenda in the designated organization box. This will help me greatly. Thank you. The confirmation email contains instructions for dialing into the webinar for users desiring to call in. If your school is called, please raise your digital hand and unmute yourself. During the meeting, please ensure your device remains muted unless you are speaking with the Commission. It's recommended that only one device be in the room at the same time. If multiple devices are nearby, you get a lot of feedback, and that's no fun. For users who use the dial-in feature, you can press *9 to raise your hand or *6 to unmute your phone. And for technical assistance with using Zoom, please see the Zoom technical support link. But thank you for joining us here today. I'm excited to be back, excited to have hurricane season behind us. And I'm assuming introduction to visitors is something that we will pass on and finally move forward to section 4 for approval of the minutes. We'll consider the minutes from the meetings held July 25th and 26th. Commissioners, is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All right. Do I have, or is there any opposed? Then the motion to approve the July 25th minutes is adopted. Section 5 is reports. Director Hurst, would you please provide the Executive Director's report?
Yes, so our student protection fees balance is currently, or as of September 12, 2024, is $4,178,964.68. We have no citations to reports. In this section, we are also going to discuss the appointment of the Expert Medical School Review Committee. So per Rule 60-2.0042.3, Florida Administrative Code Medical Clerkship Program, an application for initial licensure of a foreign medical school shall be reviewed by an Expert Medical School Review Committee appointed by the Chair of the Commission. The committee members shall include individuals who have expertise and degrees in medical education, institutional governance, and evaluation experience, and clinical clerkships for medical students. We have provided you the CVs of 3 individuals, and we are recommending the appointment of the Expert Medical School Review Committee. The proposed committee members are as follows: Dr. Jeffrey LaRochelle, Patrick Donnellan, and Dr. Teresa Velez. Commissioner Williams, would you like to make a motion to appoint the proposed committee members in accordance with Rule 60-2.0042.3 Florida Administrative Code?
Commissioners, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Then all in favor to appoint the proposed committee members, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right. The appointment of the proposed members to the Expert Medical School Review Committee in accordance with Rule 6E 2.0042.3 FAC does pass indeed. Counselor, it's always great to see you. Would you please provide our legal counsel report?
Good morning, Commissioners. Welcome to a special edition of the General Counsel's report. We have before you this morning a proposed final order in the matter of Florida Commission for Independent Education versus Vocational Training Institute Incorporated of Green Acres, Florida. Just to review some of the procedural history of this case, on June 28th of this year, a duly constituted panel of this commission found probable cause against Vocational Training Institute, which is an allied health school located in Green Acres, Palm Beach County, Florida, for 5 counts of attempting to obtain action from this commission by means of fraudulent misrepresentation. Specifically, the panel found probable cause that from about April 28, 2021, through or about June 11th of this year, the Institute repeatedly attempted to obtain approval from this commission to offer one or more programs by means of submission of falsified clinical affiliation agreements. All of the details of this are outlined in the administrative complaint, which is incorporated by way of reference into the draft final order. Your executive director is recommending, and it is contained in the draft, that this commission find that the Institute is guilty on all 5 counts, and that as a consequence, the institution have its license revoked, and that fines be imposed in the amount of $25,000. That is to say, $5,000 per count. As to, I do want to review just a little bit. In order for any of these counts to stick, this commission needs to find that their guilt has been proven by clear and convincing evidence. So to constitute clear and convincing evidence, the evidence must be of such weight that it produces in your minds a firm belief or conviction that it is highly probable that the factual contentions of the claim are true. I submit that the administrative complaint with its exhibits, along with the with this commission's investigative report and its exhibits, constitute clear and convincing evidence. In order to revoke the license of a licensee, Rule 6E 20063A Florida Administrative Code provides that revocation is appropriate when a violation is such that in the commission's judgment it is so serious so as to threaten the continued operation of the institution or the health, safety, and welfare of its students or staff or of the general public. I submit that the 5 counts of fraudulent misrepresentation are sufficient to justify revocation of licensure. They clearly threaten the continued operation of the institution. All fraudulent behavior does. When behavior is fraudulent, that means that an institution simply is not operating in good faith. That good faith is the sine qua non for all operation in this sector. All of its representations to this commission, to its students, and to the general public are simply untrustworthy. As to the threats to students and the general public, the institution attempted to gain programmatic approvals with invalid clinical affiliation agreements, which means that had the commission approved the operation of these programs, these students would not have gained, these would have been PN students, would not have gained the clinical experience required for obtaining a license and practicing in their field. They either would not have been able to graduate from the program because there were no clinicals to complete, or in the alternative, as we've seen with some other schools, quite possibly the intention of the school was to bestow these credentials fraudulently. We simply don't know. So either these students would not have been able to graduate, or they would have been graduated without the experience, without a valid clinical experience. The students would have been cheated out of a nursing education, or in the alternative, the public would have been cheated out of a qualified practical nurse, qualified practical nurses. So I submit that this is, these 5 counts are more than sufficient grounds for revocation of licensure. The institution has had opportunity to challenge the allegations contained in the administrative complaint. They declined to file any petition for administrative review. And I'm available to answer any more questions that you have to discuss any of the factual allegations in the administrative complaint. You are welcome to, it is your prerogative to vote to adopt the final order as is, or to amend it if you believe that to be appropriate.
Thank you, Counselor. Commissioners, would you like to discuss any aspect of this well thought out and clearly articulated report from the counselor? Counselor, can you refresh our memories just for the edification of how the commission first became aware of these activities?
Sure. Let me draw up my notes. And
And to be clear, I'm not questioning the validity of it. I'm asking because I'm hoping that whatever precipitated that is something that can be replicated in order to avoid these kind of bad actors in the future.
Of course. Well, the first of these falsified clinical agreements was submitted to this commission on or about April 28th, 2021 by Ms. Claudette Excellent, the school's owner. And that was as part of an application for an ASN program and a practical nursing program. That application was not granted. And so about 3 years later, on or about April 6th, 2023, so April 6th of last year, Ms. Excellent, once again on behalf of the Institute, submitted a second application, this time to only offer a practical nursing program. The sharp-eyed program specialist, Dr. Monica Brooks, noticed that the clinical affiliation agreement, the alleged clinical affiliation agreement, was scheduled to expire in about a month. And so Dr. Brooks requested that Ms. Excellent submit an updated clinical affiliation agreement. That updated agreement was electronically mailed to the commission about a month later, on or about May 8th of last year. The second agreement purports to be a new affiliation agreement, but it contained a signature page which was completely identical to that of the first agreement. In fact, the purported updated second agreement was completely identical to the first agreement in every respect except one, where one of the pages in the contract, in the alleged contract, was switched out both agreements, both the first and the alleged updated agreement, purported to take effect on or about June 26th, 2020, when the agreements were signed. But one agreement purports to remain in effect for a term of 3 years, and the second agreement for a term of 5 years. In January of this year, when in preparation for the commission meeting, when these applications for both annual license renewal as well as new program approval were before this commission, it was noticed that the signature pages of both of these agreements were identical, and that even the second agreement purported to have been signed on the very date in 2020 as the first clinical agreement, and that that appeared to be very odd to this commission. So Miss Excellent, as well as her nursing program director and with their legal counsel, appeared at the January in-person meeting in Orlando. This commission questioned them about the origins of this agreement. At that meeting, Miss Excellent testified that the second agreement, that very oddly put together agreement, had been given to her by the hospital. And that was her testimony, was that she had solicited the second agreement from the hospital, and the hospital gave her a document that was identical with the initial agreement, with, I think it was page 7 of the contract switched out to indicate a term of 5 years instead of 3 years. Later, Miss Excellent changed her story and claimed essentially that she had been holding on to 2 versions of these clinical agreements all along, that back in 2020, 2 different clinical agreements were executed with the hospital, one that lasted for 3 years, and just in case the Board of Nursing or this commission didn't give its approval for the new programs in time, a second agreement that she had in her back pocket that was effective for 5 years. And so that she had since the COVID-19 pandemic, had in possession these 2 clinical agreements. Well, that contradicted her testimony in January. This commission subsequently reached out to the hospital, who affirmed via signed affidavits that there was never an agreement with Vocational Training Institute. In fact, the hospital manager, Mr. Cerullo, whose name appears on that agreement, was not even employed with the hospital at the time the agreement was allegedly signed. Both Mr. Cerullo, the former hospital manager, as well as hospital administrator, as well as the hospital itself, have submitted to this commission signed affidavits that that it never entered into any clinical affiliation agreement with Vocational Training Institute at any time, and that Mr. Cerullo's signature on these agreements was falsified. I would note that the hospital has no obvious motivation for lying to this commission. The hospital does not fall under this commission's jurisdiction. They happily and willingly submitted themselves to potential criminal penalties for making a false representation to an official body of the state of Florida. That is a crime. And they willingly submitted themselves to that prospect if they were not telling the truth. I believe there's no reason to believe that they're not. There's no obvious motivation for them not to. I believe that their sworn testimony is much more credible than that of the institutions in this case.
Thank you for that. I was going to extend some kudos to the program specialists and to the entire CIE staff for paying very close attention and actually scrutinizing the submissions that have been made here and catching what could have been, disastrous student outcome. And really want to extend my gratitude to all of the director of the CIE staff and everyone caught that. So, commissioners, is there any further discussion on this? Is there any public comment on this matter?
I'd like to just reinforce what you stated and thank you for such a thorough legal report on this and walking us back through this. I mean, I clearly recall everything that was described as we kind of saw these documents earlier on, and the hard work that the commission staff and legal counsel has put into this it is notable and goes a far way to protecting students. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Hearing no further discussion, is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The staff recommendation is adopted.
Now, I would recommend putting forward a motion to give the acting chair the authority to sign the order at a later date.
Was that not within staff recommendations?
It is
No.
not in this section.
Okay, then do I have a motion to designate authority to the executive director to sign
No.
at a later? I'm sorry?
It's a delegation to the acting chair to sign the final order once
Oh,
once
for
the
the
draft
acting
has
chair.
been
Would you
finalized.
phrase it as you'd prefer it to be, Counselor?
Yes.
Trey, you're not getting off the hook for this one. Sorry.
I'm sorry. What do I need to?
No, I just want to phrase it the way that
As
Counselor
I
wants
just
to
said
be
it. As I just said it on
Okay.
the record.
Yeah.
Then do I have a motion?
So move.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Does that close that section out for you, Counselor? Is there anything strings left that we need to address?
That's all I have at this moment.
Okay. All right, then we are moving on. Section number 6, degree institutional licensures. Institutions ordered to appear back before the commission. I think there are 3, and we are going to take these individually. Number 1 is Essential School of Nursing, Miami Gardens, number 6219. The staff recommendation has been provided. If you're here from that institution, raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. My
Does
name
it
is
appear-
Baudelaire Sainville.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. Thank you very much. And yourself?
Very well. Thank you for being here.
We're glad to be here.
Commissioners, do we have discussion about staff recommendations? Anything in particular about the Teach Out
So
program?
I'd like if perhaps Director Hurst could help with the context for the discrepancy on their numbers related to students. I think refreshing on that context could help us properly frame our questions.
So this particular institution was ordered to submit reports to the commission and on or before September 1st, 2024 to explain the discrepancies that were between the rosters submitted to the commission on May 10th, 2024 and July 12th, 2024, and between the submitted rosters and the submitted summary table. So their numbers were not adding up when they were submitting the rosters to us. So we had a summary table and a roster, and we had questions about the discrepancies between the number of students on those forms.
Does that answer your question, Dr. Stefano?
It does. It does. Thank you. So would the institution like to shed some light on this?
No, we've had a mistake, and we've had some record keepings with the institution. And we had to actually manually go to the report hand by hand to make sure that the report is accurate. And moving forward, we have instituted policies and making sure that all the reports coming out are accurate and third, revised 3 times before they go out from the institution.
Commissioners, is there further discussion? Any public comment on this matter?
And Commissioners, if you look in page 24 of your summary sheet, it gives the exact numbers that we were looking at from the different discrepancies between the rosters if you needed additional information.
If there's no further discussion, is there a motion to accept the staff recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The staff recommendation is adopted. All right, number 2 within this section is South Florida College of Nursing, Doral, number 5697. Staff recommendations have been provided. And if you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning, Commissioners. Dr. Henry Oliveira, Dean and CEO, and I'm glad everybody's safe regarding these hurricanes.
Good morning,
Thank
Commission.
you.
This is David Friera, COO.
Good morning, Chris Gutierrez, CFO.
Thank you all for being here this morning. We hope you guys are safe as well. We appreciate your time. Commissioners, do you have any discussion on staff recommendations?
No, but it seems like your NCLEX pass rate has improved. So kudos on that. What do you think is the main driver of the improvement?
One of the main drivers has been instituting very early a strategic plan for remediation, and especially with this new NCLEX that came out last year. And continuous monitoring.
Thank you.
All right, are there any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could add just something to that. Nice job with improvement. And I know third quarter is not out yet publicly, but can you give us some insight on how you guys have performed during third quarter?
So far, the third quarter is actually looking quite promising from the engagement we've had with our students and those who have notified us of their testing. It's looking pretty good.
Also too, we just went through a reaccreditation for our institution, and we had again 0 violations, and they looked at all our numbers and they were very proud of us.
Good. Well, thank you.
I'm glad to hear Q3 is going well for you. We all kind of took it on the chin there for a little while.
Yes, sir.
All right, is there any further discussion or public comment?
There is none.
Do I have, I'm sorry?
There is none.
Okay. Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The staff recommendation is adopted. We move on to the third and final in this section, Thomas M. Cooley Law School, Riverview, number 4552. Staff recommendations are provided. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm James McGrath. I'm the president and dean of Thomas Cooley Law School.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I will. I'll give it a start here this morning, Mr. McGrath. I'd love to ask the same question that Commissioner Cross just asked a moment ago. We don't get the always most updated because of the trailing nature of our information. Tell me how things are year to date with your financial progress?
Yes, so we had an additional number of students we weren't expecting. So revenues are up a little bit. We maintain appropriate levels of cash on hand, and we are under contract with one of our excess buildings that we are trying to sell that will help us to pay down the rest of our bonds. So things are looking up.
You guys have that building out on the market right now?
Yes, sir.
How's that going?
Well, we've had a lot of interest, but as you know, commercial property has been pretty difficult to sell during COVID. But we've had some kind of really low offers that we did not want to consider, but our board has recognized that the buildings will never be as valuable as they once were. So they're contemplating a counteroffer to a recent offer we had that would be sufficient to help us to retire the bonds.
Thank you for that update. Commissioners, is there any additional discussion?
Chair, if I could just add, just want to commend the school for the rapid turnaround on the financials report. Just, great, you guys are doing something about it. A lot of operational decisions, not just in Tampa, but in Lansing as well. And, it's obviously paying off. So I just want to commend you for that.
I appreciate that. I wish I could take credit. That's our CFO, Kathy Conklin, just Wonder Woman. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a strange world to be in right now, navigating the economy that we're in, certainly with what you guys do and the breadth and scope of all of your operations. So thanks for the transparency and for the discussion.
Certainly.
All right. If there's no further discussion, any public comment? Hearing none, do I have a recommendation a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Yep. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Staff recommendation is adopted. Thank you for being here this morning, sir. Good luck with that sale.
Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you.
All right, Section B, application for provisional licensure, I think has been moved from 7 to 6 items that we are going to take individually. Skipping what looks like number 1 to number 2, the International Holistic University Jacksonville, number 13048. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Nadia Shirabudo. I'm the president of the university.
Good morning, commissioners. My name is Nelly Gallo, and I will be the translator, if you don't mind.
Thank you both for being here this morning. Commissioners, you have staff recommendations in front of you. If you'd like to digest that and have any discussion.
Yes, would like to just get an update. I know they appeared at the July meeting and we were concerned on some of the titles being somewhat vague. And I believe they have been modified, and I'd just like to hear an update on those titles.
Sí, los nombres fueron modificados para poder mostrar una mejor claridad en cuanto a la orientación de los títulos.
The titles have been modified so as to make them clearer. That's the idea. In the case of coach, the title was changed to transformational coach.
Can you guys remind us of the positions and the demand you guys find for that program, specifically the transformational coaching, where someone is headed to be gainfully employed with that degree?
Sí, Principalmente la orientación está para ser incluidos en los espacios organizacionales en las empresas.
It's mainly designed so that people who get a degree can be included in the organization of big companies and businesses.
Mejorando lo que es el rendimiento, la productividad.
So as to improve anything related to productivity.
La toma de decisiones de la parte gerencial y de los equipos también.
And mainly decision making as regards managers and employees.
También,
and all the staff involved in the company.
También una de las orientaciones es el coaching o el entrenamiento para la mejora en la salud emocional y física en hábitos de bienestar.
It is also intended to improve emotional health and physical health in the habitat, in the environment, the working environment.
En esencia, lo que hacen los egresados es liderar procesos de cambio.
Essentially, what the people who get this degree can achieve is to become leaders in changing processes in companies and in everyday life, in businesses.
Con una fuerte base de conocimientos basados en ciencia.
With a strong background on science,
neurociencia,
neuroscience,
y herramientas de vanguardia para generar los cambios en el comportamiento y en la productividad, como dijimos antes.
And the latest tools to achieve changes in productivity and in leadership.
Thank you for that.
I suppose it's mainly intended to achieve leaders in the 21st century, going to the 22nd century, when we are all taking into consideration not just the knowledge, but also emotions and how emotions rule lives.
Well, I hope we all make it to the 22nd century.
Yeah.
Thank you for those answers. Commissioners, any additional discussion?
Yeah, so I appreciate the fact that on the agenda, pages 9 and following, especially pages 9 and 12 of the provided packet, there's a list of proposed employment opportunities that align with each of their respective degree programs. I appreciate the effort in trying to articulate that more than we previously had it articulated. Nonetheless, when reading through that list carefully, it seems that the employment opportunities there are nonetheless still very vague, and they really have undefined industry boundaries. And I guess the biggest question for us is about market demand, because that's what would be the primary driver of institutional success and sustainability. And so I think it would be good if we can have an answer that speaks more directly to indicators of market demand. To put the question more pointedly for the translator, many of the roles described are non-standard and therefore are innovative in their quality. This would require creating a new type of demand for the kinds of roles being proposed. Without that already in place, what indicators do you have for this kind of demand so that you're not producing an indebted workforce without suitable employment opportunities?
Las fuentes de lo que fue el estudio no tengo certeza de si pudieron ver ese documento que tiene más de 150 páginas, si me lo pudieran confirmar.
There's a document that consists of over 150 pages. Did you have access to that document?
We have access to the provided documents, but the question I'm asking is not addressed in those documents. I'm asking a very specific question, which is not what types of potential or imagined opportunities exist, but what indicators for market demand for those opportunities does she have, which is a distinct question.
Sí, la pregunta era porque al final del documento están todas las fuentes y referencias de cuáles son los estudios de mercado que tomamos.
The question was because at the end of the document, there are all the indicators that show the places where all the information was taken from. That was a reason for the question.
Por ejemplo, hay indicadores que están publicados en Business Harvard Review que cuentan que, por ejemplo, cada inversión de $1 retornan en 6 en los lugares de trabajo por las mejoras que este tipo de empleos generan en el bienestar de los empleados.
There's a document in a Harvard Review that shows that all these new strategies bring great help to students and to employees and employers, and they get, instead of $1, $6.
Y el 40% hoy en día de las empresas en Estados Unidos, según estas fuentes que están documentadas, tienen incluidos este tipo de puestos también.
And 40% of American companies include this type of jobs in their current staff. This is all according to that Harvard Review that we are
Y el
quoting.
resto de las fuentes consultadas.
And all the other information we looked for.
Dr. Stefano, it almost feels like there may be a nomenclature, like a translation issue here. If 40% actually included it sounds, if what I'm hearing is correct, it sounds almost like a performance-based, development that's closely related to human resources, but meant more broadly to be individual and team development. Like you, I felt like the name was vague, and I had the same questions about what that really meant. Where do you go to work? What do you do when you get there?
Yeah, and I share the same concerns, and the names are generic and they're hard to understand. And the question I'd ask is the bachelor's degree program in transformational coaching, is that the same subject matter as the MS degree in techniques for personal development and programming for success?
That's a good question.
¿De qué van a trabajar lo que se reciben de Transformational Coach? Si es lo mismo que técnicas personales de mejora.
Son carreras de una orientación similar, pero las herramientas de base son diferentes con las cuales se trabajan.
All these careers related to transformational coaching have a similar basis, but they use different tools.
Y en esencia, el máster lo que acompaña es a generar el cambio en las creencias suficiente para poder crear un cambio de vida.
And what the masters intends to do is to create a change in life.
Nuestra vida, la vida que tenemos hoy en día,
Our life nowadays is full of pressures.
Es el resultado de las acciones que hemos tomado.
And is the result of the actions we have taken in life.
Y estas acciones son el resultado de las decisiones.
And all these actions are the result of our decisions.
Y las decisiones de las interpretaciones que hemos tenido del mundo.
And the decisions are based on our interpretation of the world.
Y estas interpretaciones están basadas en las creencias limitantes o posibilitantes que tenemos.
And all these are restricted by our beliefs.
Estas herramientas lo que hacen es poder acompañar a un consultante a poder transformar estas creencias de base.
So all the tools we are giving students is to provide them with different methods to change people's lives.
Esto se puede hacer en consultas 1 a 1,
So they can work in consulting offices, working one-to-one,
en espacios de bienestar de trabajo,
in spaces where special welfare working area is needed,
en centros de bienestar como hoy están en CRES en alta demanda,
in welfare centers that today have an increasing demand,
donde el mercado de bienestar que incluye estas carreras y sus puestos de trabajo
where the market demands these sort of careers and these working opportunities,
hoy cuenta con 5.6 trillones de dólares anuales.
Today there's a huge budget, over $3 trillion invested in this type of activities and careers.
Y está creciendo a un ritmo proyectado del 8% anual.
And the market is increasing up to a rate of an 8% every year.
Creando puestos de trabajos sumados a los ya existentes.
So this will create a working force that will be added to the working force that is already existent.
Y se espera para el 2027 que esté en 8.6 trillones de dólares.
And the budget is expected to rise to 2028 to over $5 trillion.
Necesitando una gran fuerza de trabajo específicamente de estos graduados.
That will mean that the great working force in this area is needed in the world.
Que estén suficientemente formados y académicamente con una excelencia.
So there will be an increasing demand for these sort of graduates which will get an excellence in education and in new techniques.
Por lo que hoy en día, si nuestros graduados finalizaran hoy,
that's the reason why if people graduated today,
tendrían sus lugares de trabajos asegurados al 85% en menos de 6 meses de trabajo de egresados.
In less than 6 months, there will be an 85% of the students that graduate working in their professions.
Y esto se incrementaría para cuando realmente se gradúen, que es en los próximos años.
And this number will go on increasing in the next years.
Por lo tanto, hoy está asegurada la inserción laboral.
That's why today we are sure to say that the labor workforce is granted.
Y apuntamos a generar un impacto comunitario en la demanda que están necesitando en el futuro, que se necesitará.
And we are sure we can comply with the demands and of the future generations.
I think it may be worth. I don't disagree that the world we live in is certainly filled with people who want to be the best versions of themselves and help others to do the same. It's probably more of a just a clarity of titling and how it is being presented. So maybe I'd throw this out there. Maybe we have just a note and a pen for ourselves to watch how this is received by the student and understood, so that they can get what it is that they thought they were getting on the other side of it. I mean, I think we're speculating about how the student's going to see it and then where they're going to be. But I do think that there is a demand. I think it's more of how it is being framed and how it's being presented, so that people understand that it's part of this particular corporate division, that particular department. Here's the role that someone would hire for you. So maybe, and I'm just throwing this out there, we accept these staff recommendations and just make a point when we revisit this issue to look closely at the enrollments, the placements, and the completions of that program in particular, unless you guys have some other thoughts on how we might proceed.
If I may, I agree entirely with what you're saying, and I really think that there is an emphasis on wellness and a growing market for it. A lot of this is just in the branding and ensuring that there's an alignment between expectations and student success. In terms of the underlying principles of the master's program that you described, that is not actually very uncommon, except normally people call that dialectical behavioral therapy. That's exactly what you were describing. And so that's kind of the standard nomenclature for it. And typically when describing these kinds of programs, positions that people outline for are things like specialist in stress management or coordinator of wellness programs. These are the sorts of things that are kind of incrementally growing in corporate culture. It's just, worth perhaps looking at that and thinking about how your terms and the prospective employment opportunities that you outline match up with the available and common terminology that is out there, just to make it more accessible. But I'm certainly in support of making a motion for staff recommendation, and then just kind of keeping an eye on placement.
Yeah, you're right. If it was performance coaching or individual performance, that word, transformational is a little vague. I agree with you, but it may just be a labeling issue for,
Sure. I mean, and for me, it was more just looking at the documents in terms of potential employment opportunities. And it seems to me that most of the opportunities listed, some of them are aspirational in terms of corporate placement. Many of them are entrepreneurial in nature, right? So things that, a workshop facilitator or kind of a coach, you kind of start your own business. Fine, right? It's kind of hard to gauge that. In terms of the statistics that, they listed, well, many of the statistics, provided are things that could make a case to a potential company regarding why this would be a good fit, but are not statistics supporting an existing demand. So it's just important to be clear about what the statistics that they're providing actually support. Nonetheless, I think what you outlined is the best way to proceed.
Well, then we will we'll make a note to revisit this during the renewal point, or I should say, move to annual, and look closely at how that's been perceived by the student, and what the enrollment and completion and placement rates look like, and who knows what the world looks like 12 months from now. But it will go by very quickly, and I think we'll get a lot of information out of those updated numbers once those get resubmitted. So.
And just to be clear to the institution, I mean, our concern here is only for your success and for student success, right? So it's not that there is any issue with this in principle. It's practically wanting this to align with, market availability to ensure that double success.
Well said. I was going to say the same thing. I want to make clear that it's more about framing this for the best possible outcome, both for the institution and the student. That's all. All right. If there's no further discussion, is there any, well, let me back up. Hold on a second. I've lost my place. If there's no further discussion, is there a motion to accept the staff recommendations?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to accept staff recommendations carries. All right, so there is a third in this section, Calvert University, Miami, number 13089. Staff recommendations have been provided. If you're here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. Do you guys hear me? I'm sorry about that.
Yes, we can. Thank you for being here. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, good morning. My name is Robert Dominguez. I am the president of Calvert University. My academic director was not able to make it today. It's my wife, and last night she gave birth to her third baby. So she's in the hospital as we speak. I also have here my consultants, Mr. Tosas and Ms. Linda Tosas.
Congratulations, sir. I hope mom and baby are safe.
Good morning.
I actually thought this was a video recorded Zoom, so I left the hospital in a rush to put a suit, but it's not recorded, so should have stayed in the hospital with my wife.
Well, we hope not to take you away from your family for very long. We appreciate you being on here today and send all our good vibes to the family.
Thank you very much.
Commissioners, I don't mind starting on the staff recommendations here. I know we have some outstanding pro forma balance sheet, projected budgets, et cetera. Director, has anything been submitted since the staff recommendations here, or are those items still outstanding?
Everything was submitted as of today.
As of today? That's why I was asking.
Yes, sir. Everything was submitted.
On our side, we will have to check with their program specialist, and then it'll have to be uploaded into the system.
Yeah, no, the reason for my asking is I find the pro forma balance sheet exercise to be speculative, to be honest with you. But what I don't find to be speculative is a projected budget and projected enrollments to meet that budget. And because that pro forma balance sheet, the projected budgets, and it looks like administrative personnel and catalog are outstanding, that all seems like a heavy lift that remains on the viability of the business model itself. Commissioners, if that makes any sense at all. It seems like the meat of this, I guess is what I'm saying, is still outstanding.
Actually, everything was submitted months ago. Not sure if you have it in front of you, but Ms. Monica Brooks have all that documentations.
Mr. Chair, I have it in my in my book, the Form 606.
Okay, I'm just reading the staff recommendations here. I see what you're saying now.
Yes, we ask for revisions to it. When we review it, we may ask for corrections related to how many students they are projected versus the amount of funding that we have received for student protection funds. So we were asking for revisions.
Yeah, right. Yes, yeah, I did get that. That was just one of 4, right, different items that were outstanding. Well, commissioners, do you have any additional discussion for staff recommendations?
I just have one quick question about the program. I saw that in the program description for resources, you checked off online, but also in-house. And I was wondering what was meant by that. What are you perceiving as the actual structure of program delivery?
Oh, actually, we would have 100% online, but also modality, and that's why that terminology.
You cut out there. I'm sorry, but also opportunity to enroll on a
100% online modality or on a hybrid modality.
Okay, and by hybrid, you mean some in person and some online?
Will be 70%. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 70% online and 30% in person of the program.
Okay, and then in terms of online, what would it be entirely asynchronous, or will it be some synchronous components?
There will be some synchronous, but the majority will be asynchronous. But the students will have an opportunity to have synchronous in.
You got cut out again. We'll have the opportunity for some.
They will have the opportunity to have some synchronous interactions as well. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I could add something real quick. I loved how you guys did your budget. It's rare that you see someone put so much resources into advertising, and you're in a really highly competitive arena. And it looks like, I appreciate what you guys did there in terms of setting up a realistic plan to be successful. So well done on that business plan.
Oh, thank you so much.
I am always appreciative of Commissioner Cross's sensitivity to the cost of student acquisition.
It's expensive.
I know, and you always notice that. I'm saying it's appreciated. It's harder and harder in these days, so you gotta make a commitment to that, and it's always a good call out.
One question I do have is, it seems like your staff credentials may support things like the paralegal studies, et cetera, but in terms of data analytics and AI, there does seem to be a mismatch between that and the staff credentials. Is that something where you're planning on adding staff to?
Yes, thanks for bringing it up. That was part of the staff recommendation. Ms. Monica Brooks wanted us to buy more professors with those degrees, so we're already working on it. So that's not a problem. That will be provided after the meeting.
Okay, so upon granting, and this is an internal kind of comment here, so my understanding is that we approve the staff recommendation, then the executive director will review the appointed staff and ensure sufficient credentials for the proposed programs. Is that correct?
Yes, because initially we provided for the first semester, and the staff recommendation required more for the next semester. So that's what we are working on next. That's what Ms. Monica Bruce explained to us.
And Commissioners, that is correct. So number 4 for the staff recommendation is submission of completed INA personnel forms with supporting credentials that demonstrate compliance with the rule. They will have, per the current staff recommendation, the institution will have 90 days to provide that to the commission in order to comply with the clerk's order. A failure to provide that information would lead to either a request for extension to comply with the contingency or a failure to comply with the clerk's order, and then she would return in front of the commission for further action.
And here on the staff recommendation, it says 100% synchronous online delivery. Is that just a typo there?
Yes, that will be a typo. Thanks for noticing.
Director Hurst?
Let me clarify. So should it state per the institution, because I'm looking at your two different documents, the grant approval of the hybrid 100%, your original document said asynchronous. Is that correct, that it should say asynchronous online delivery?
Yes, please.
Okay, instead of synchronous. Yes, that can be modified in the staff recommendation at the commissioner's discretion.
So the motion would likely be to adopt staff recommendation with the revision in the last sentence to grant approval of the hybrid 100% asynchronous online delivery. Right. Okay. Do I have a motion to accept staff recommendation with that noted revision?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That staff recommendation is adopted with the revision as noted to 100% asynchronous online delivery. Thank you all for being here this morning. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. And we want to thank Ms. Monica Brooks as well for all her guidance throughout this process.
Definitely.
And blessings on the new family or
Thank
expanded
you very
family.
much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations.
All right, moving on to number 4, Lincoln Memorial University, Tampa, number 13103. Staff recommendations are provided. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Jay Stubblefield. I'm the Executive Vice President for Academic Affairs, and I have several of my colleagues also on.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Hope you're having a good morning.
Hi, I'm Kim Carney. I'm the Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine.
Good morning. I'm Chris Loike, Dean and Chief Academic Officer of DeBus College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Good morning. I'm James Toldy. I'm the Associate Dean of Clinical Medicine for DeBus College of Osteopathic Medicine, Lincoln Memorial University.
Chris Giorgetti from Ferguson, Santoro, and Giorgetti, Lincoln Memorial's consultant.
Well, thank you all for being here this morning. We really appreciate it. Commissioners, is there any discussion?
I do, Mr. Chair. I just want to a clarifying question. The DO program and the Masters in Vet and Doctorate in Veterinary Medicine, is it those 3 programs that will go into Tampa, or would it also include the nursing and PA program, or is that only in Orange Park?
So the DO program will be in Tampa.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, Orange Park. My apologies. Orange Park.
Right.
So currently,
if I can, commissioners, just to give you a clarity picture for Lincoln Memorial. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The Orange Park building, they purchased the building. The building itself is in construction, but will not be finalized for a period of time. The Tampa facility, we installed the vet program into the Tampa facility to be able to secure the license and not have to run into an issue of provisional license expiring after 1 year, et cetera, like so many DO schools face if they do not start the DO program in a time frame that fits the CIE's rule. So the vet program is only going to be taught at Tampa for the period until Orange Park is completed, and then all 3 programs will begin at Orange Park once they receive the DO approval from COCA for accreditation.
To clarify, that is just the
clarifies
master. That's just the Masters of Veterinary Clinical Care. The Doctor of Veterinary Medicine is still in the accreditation process with the AVMA COE, just like COCA.
Right. It's only the master program that's going to be at Tampa for that first year or 2.
So when I read about the PA and nursing, is that just in Tennessee and not in Florida?
So the PA and nursing programs, we've had a site in Tampa since 2017, and
Okay.
that's where those programs.
Okay. Got it. You're adding programs to that location in lieu of Orange Park at this point in time.
Right, just the Masters of Veterinary Clinical Care, and it's and like Mr. Giorgetti said, we're just trying to make sure that we meet all of the deadlines and requirements for all the agencies involved, from SAC-COC, COCA, the AVMA COE, and so forth.
Thank you. I just wanted to clarify it all. Thank you.
Wasn't an easy one to navigate at all. These schools never are.
Yeah, we're the chicken and the egg scenario that we encounter quite often with these.
Absolutely.
And it sounds a little like you've got a contingency against some construction slash building development itself. Can you give us an update on how that's going based on your original timeline projections?
Here, Dr. Stubblefield.
So the renovations are ongoing with a target start date for both programs in summer of 2026. And at this point, everything is on track.
Well, you got a little
They
time.
own that
thankfully.
facility, Commissioner Williams. They own that facility, so.
Right. I have nothing further. Commissioners, do you have additional discussion?
No,
Commissioner
appreciate the
Williams.
clarification.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, there does need to be one point of clarification on the staff recommendations. The last sentence, which states order the institution to make timely and sufficient application no later than 120 days prior to September 30th, 2025, should now reflect no later than 120 days prior to the scheduled renewal date. And that is due to the hurricane throwing off that scheduled September meeting. And so now if they are granted a license, they will receive it later after September 30th.
Right. Thank you for that. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys being here. I know you've got a lot of complexities and dependencies to navigate over the next 12 months or so to get all of those aligned as you intend out of Orange Park and Tampa. So if there's no further discussion, commissioners, do I hear a motion to accept staff recommendations as noted for the scheduled renewal date?
So moved.
Second. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That revised staff recommendation carries. Thank you guys for being here. Good luck with your ongoing development.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, commissioners.
Number 5 is Palm Beach Photographic Center, West Palm, number 13090. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Andy Farrell. I'm the director of the Feature Film Conservatory at the Palm Beach Photographic Center. Joining me should be Dr. Anthony Bannon, who's the board member of Palm Beach Photographic Center.
Thank you, Mr. Farrell, Dr. Bannon. Thank you both being here. Commissioners, do we have any individual discussion about staff recommendations or the information provided? Is there any public comment on this matter? If not,
Hey, Mr. Chair, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I didn't know if you were making a motion. The expenses for total expenses in the first month are 712,000, and you have 532,000 in working capital. So how are you going to be able to afford a cost of operating the business in the first month? It sounds like it's maybe funded by maybe a parent company, but I want to get clarification on that.
The funding will be by tuition.
But your expenses are gonna, so your expenses, okay. And you're not
Tuition.
gonna start I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just got to say, tuition's due a month and a half before the program begins. The expenses really don't begin until the program begins.
And I think there was a comment made that you would only start the program if there was 60 students enrolled. Is that
correct?
True?
Correct.
So if you have 55 students, then it wouldn't start?
Actually, the break even on the application is 50 students.
Okay.
And those fixed costs are are incremental relative to enrollment, so you don't have those fixed costs. To Commissioner Cross's point there, you're not going to carry those expenses unless you actually begin the program.
Absolutely.
Is there a demand? I mean, it just, you know, I know there's no financial aid, so it's pretty expensive. I know there's value with being able to create their own feature film, unlike other competitors. But is there enough people out there with that kind of cash on hand and demand for that program?
The numbers are kind of hidden, but the A schools like NYU and UCLA, USC, they typically get between 10 and 30 times extra applicants. So just there's certainly there's a market, and it's an increasing market, unlike a lot of graduate schools. Additionally, internationally, for example, I have done work in China. The Beijing Film Academy is 10 times harder to get into than Harvard University. So there seems to be a market.
Okay.
Yes, I would agree. I know FSU School of Film is extremely tough to get into, very competitive. So I do
it's a
think
great
there
school.
is a market.
It's a very good school.
It is a very good school.
Well,
I am also, you know, a bit concerned seeing the cost, the $25,000, if I'm reading this correctly, per semester.
It's the cost, the tuition is below the A schools, above state schools. So it's in a competitive space, we believe.
And do you find that graduates are as likely to gain employment, or do you see this as more of an empowerment on an individual, you know, I hate to use the word entrepreneurial because I don't really think of it like that. But do you anticipate your graduates going and becoming a W-2 employee temporarily and then hoping to do their own thing, or go directly to that creative?
I've got two answers. One is the reality is that very few people who graduate from film schools are in the film industry 5 years after they graduate.
Fair enough.
However, if you look at a feature film, the back end credits, most of those people in the back end make considerably more than the average wage in America. So a script supervisor, a gaffer, they're terrific opportunities. I mean, it takes tenacity, but the carrot we're really offering is that they make the feature film and they get to recoup all the monies.
Given that 5 years later, a lot of folks aren't in the industry, do you have concerns about the longevity of the model where, you know, word may be out that you spend $25,000 on something and then not be in that industry 5 years later?
My father went to MIT. He studied geology. My father always said that MIT didn't teach him engineering. It taught him how to think. My father never worked in geology. He became a rocket scientist. So part of the objective of this school is to teach kids how to think, to teach the students how to think, and to be prepared. And if they can stay in the visual media, and the visual media is expanding, I think they're in a good place. The feature film is kind of the platinum objective in the field, so that they can do things less than feature films. But the feature film market is very, very competitive in terms of employment.
Well said. That makes sense. Thank you for that clarity.
Thank you.
Commissioners, any further discussion? Any public comment on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Staff recommendations are adopted. Thank you guys for being here. Good luck. Pretty interesting business model. I'm excited to see more of it in the future.
May I ask or say one more thing, please?
Of course.
I'd like to thank your staff, particularly Chris DeSalvo. He made this process very seamless and he was very, very helpful. You've got a good staff there.
Chris is a great guy. Thank you. Kudos to the executive director and all the CIE staff. And good luck, guys. I know you're going to do well down there.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, number 6, Personal and Professional Development University Doral, number 13025. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Maria Fernanda Rodriguez, and I'm the Academic and Distance Education Coordinator.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Director, I had the question on this to make sure that the approval of that 100% online was indeed synchronous, just like the other that we talked about a moment ago that was intended to be asynchronous.
It's gonna have a portion of synchronous because we're gonna have live sessions with the students, with the professor, but it's asynchronous online delivery.
Okay.
And yes, that one does
So I
appear
believe-
to be correct. On page 5 of your summary sheet, she has her online program edition, and it has the program delivery marked as 100% online synchronous.
Okay.
Dr. Stefano, I anticipated you having some questions about communications and marketing and integration of artificial intelligence. Was I right about that?
Well, less questions as much as I think that's a growing space that is critically important. So kudos on developing a program around that. I did have a question about the modality, which was just clarified. So thank you. It seems like the category that's missing in our forms, and which, if my queries are answered, will be added one day, is blended. So blended is when you have synchronous and asynchronous, as opposed to hybrid, which is when you have on-person and online. So what she's suggesting is that it will be primarily asynchronous, but it will overall be blended because there will be some live sessions as well. I think that's it for right now. Just looking through my notes on this.
Well, if there's no further discussion, ask if there's public comment on this matter.
Chair, if I could add something, I was waiting for Dr. Stefano to add, but I'll the name of the university to me is I don't know if it's the word is misleading, but it's very, very generic in general. It kind of feels and sounds like a certification program, personal and professional development university. The programs are, MBA, marketing with artificial intelligence and hospitality management. The name of the school is Personal and Professional Development. So just to me, I don't know if it's a game stopper, but I don't know that represents what they're offering. I just want to bring that up for discussion and see if anyone else.
I had the same thought because it's almost juxtaposed against the idea of artificial intelligence and business administration masters, right?
Yeah.
I agree.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
The owner or the person that created the name of the university is the owner, and he thought that this is a good opportunity for every student to develop themselves, and these are the best programs to do so. If there's a recommendation, we can look further on the recommendation, and we can provide probably a change or a substitution to the name. But that's the main purpose of the name that he chose for the university. Being able to provide
I understand I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, being able to provide the education needed as a professional and a personal level for any person that wants to study at the university.
Yeah, it's not an indictment of the the why. It was more a question of whether it's going to speak to your prospective student and therefore further the chances of your and their success. I think that was the question. Really, is that name going to attract the kind of folks who want that master's or that artificial intelligence program?
Yeah, when I said misleading, it's exactly that. I don't, not in a way that's going to hurt necessarily students, going to probably hurt your university. If you're searching up hospitality tourism, you're going to see UNLV, UCF, but your school probably would never come up in a search if you're spending money on marketing because of the title of your company, of your university. So I think it's going to hurt you guys by having it with this title. So once again, I don't think it's I don't think we're recommending. It's not going to stop your approval process in my vote, but just a recommendation to consider to help improve your effectiveness of marketing and relating to students who are searching for those type of programs to improve their development.
To reinforce your point, there's a non-distinctive quality to the title, right? So your title fundamentally describes the service that you're providing, but its non-distinctive character makes it hard for you to develop a distinctive profile on online searches or in the popular imaginary as a name that distinctively describes your institution, right? One way to think about it is if that's written on a diploma and you read the diploma, it almost seems like when you read the title, there's a part of you that maybe wants to say, I think they put that in the wrong spot, as if that were the name of the thing that's being awarded. Now, of course, right? I mean, it's your prerogative to come up with the name of your institution. I mean, we're just trying to think about what would give you best chances and think about how this would affect your business plan and the long-term sustainability of your organization. You have, very appealing and very strategic programs that are particularly well suited for, Doral as an area that is kind of growing and kind of a hub of international business. It would serve your cause if the owner were to humbly consider a name that is more distinctive and would help therefore with your growth as a distinct brand.
Sure.
And can I ask, what
I
is
will bring it up. Sorry, go ahead.
No, please go ahead.
No, I will bring it up to him and we will discuss further to see if we can make a proper change and make it more appealing to the type of people that wants to study at the university.
Yeah, can I ask what the URL is that you've reserved for your eventual website?
The PPDU form?
Yeah. So to Dr. Stefano's point, and I want to make sure you understand, this is not us telling you can't use that name. We're just trying to set you up for success. What's going to happen when Google and other search engines code through and crawl through the definitions and descriptions of your website is it's going to earmark those words personal and professional development and categorize you within a lot of programs that are not universities and colleges, because there's probably nothing more pervasive online than personal and professional development, content, et cetera. So again, we're not telling you can't. We're just saying that from a brand positioning standpoint, to identify yourself as unique, forward thinking, tip of the spear, AI, all the things that you've done really, really well, it's going to make it really, really challenging for you guys to have that brand identity that coincides with the programmatic innovation that you put in place. So I'm not making that a contingency, and I don't think any of the other commissioners are either. We're just making that suggestion to you as you begin this process. Those words are going to be very hard to SEO, and it would be impossible to Google AdWords that. You'd be throwing money into the void. So Just please think on that. I'm not suggesting we make a change to staff recommendations. Commissioners, I don't think you are either. All right, well then if that's the case, is there any further discussion? Any public comment on this matter? Hearing none, do I have do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The staff recommendations are adopted. Thank you for being here. We'll look further here to the results of your conversation internally on branding.
Thank you so much. Have a good day, okay?
You too. Number 7, the Institute of Healthcare Sciences, Tampa. Staff recommendations are provided. If you're here for that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
There is no one on the line.
All right. Commissioners, any discussion about staff recommendations? All right. Then do I have any public comment on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Staff recommendations are adopted for the Institute of Healthcare Sciences, Tampa, number 8967. All right. That moves us to Section C, application for annual licensing, which there are 3 that we would take individually. Executive Director, I'd like to ask if we could take 6 or 7 minutes for a bio break before we launch into that. Is that okay?
That would be great.
Thank you.
All right, then it is 10:33. Let's say come back at 10:40-ish, 6 or 7 minutes from now, and we'll dive into Section 3.
We have returned from the break, so Vice Chair Williams, I will turn the meeting back over to you.
All right. Thanks for that little respite. We are on section C, application for annual licensing. There are three. We are going to take these individually. Item number one is Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine, Melbourne, number 12639. If you're here from that institution, please raise your digital hand to unmute and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Nina Nunez. I'm the Vice President of Institutional Effectiveness at Burrell, and then I also have the Dean.
Dr. William Peratt, I'm the Dean and Chief Academic Officer at Burrell College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Thank you both for being here. Ms. Nunez, I like your title. That's I've not heard that one before.
all the accreditation and compliance and institutional outcomes, all of that stuff.
No pressure. All right. Commissioners, do we have discussion about staff recommendations or anything related to it? It looks like we only had an on-site visit outstanding.
Just wanted to congratulate you guys on a great start. It sounds like you had 107 students starting.
Yes, super exciting. So they started on July 22nd and we're moving along, but very exciting to have our first class.
Did storms disrupt you guys from matriculating the way you anticipated? I mean, that's pretty terrible timing, right? Starting in July and then Debbie and everything else hitting right after that.
So the initial storms did not throw us off schedule. We were fine all the way through Helene, and then Milton kind of had Melbourne in its crosshairs, and so that shut us down for a few days. But we were able to resume after being closed for 3 days and got our labs and our didactics back on schedule along with our assessments. So we are, as of today, we are back on schedule and in lockstep with our Las Cruces, New Mexico location.
Nice. Yeah, I live in Sarasota. The eye of that storm came right over my house, and it's ironic that I think you guys took a little more, of the heat over there on the other side of the state, perhaps, than even those that were in the eye of the storm. It's crazy how this has transpired, but I'm glad you guys are catching back up. Yes.
When is the next start date? Is it next fall, or do you have other starts throughout the year?
No, we only start one time. We matriculate one time, and typically in July, towards the end of July every year.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion and/or public comment on this? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you for being here this morning. Congratulations on coming out of the gate strong.
All right, thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to Dr. Muldrow Brooks for her assistance as well.
Definitely. Number 2, within section C, City College Altamont, number 2615. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, this is Bob Harris on behalf of City College.
Good morning, Counselor.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
All right. Did you fare okay over the past few weeks?
It has been truly amazing. It went over our house in Tallahassee, and we have a house up in Georgia. It went right over that one as well, but we're okay.
Well, if you had both of those, maybe you're clear for the next couple of decades then.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we should be safe. The odds are in our favor.
All right. The staff recommendation looks to be the extension with on-site visits already conducted. So do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Moved
Second.
and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion to accept staff recommendation carries. Thanks for being here, Bob.
No problem. Thank you all very much.
Number 3, which I believe is the last in section C, is CUC University Doral number 11411. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning. This is Jean-Claude Christian, the Executive Director at CUC University. And with me are my consultants, Esther and Linda Tosas.
Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Commissioners, do you have questions and or comments? Discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could start, just great job. It sounds like you had a successful start with 80 some students. And the question I have is, how did it break down in terms of programmatically? I know you offered five programs. How did it break down, those 80 plus students?
Correct. So as of now, we currently have 91 students. We started our last cohort a month ago, and we have 42 students in our Masters in International Business, 31 students in our Masters in Marketing, 4 students in our Masters of Mass Media Communications and Media Technology, 11 students for our Bachelors in International Business Administration, and 3 students for our Associates in International Business Administration.
And are these students reside in the U.S. or they reside outside the U.S.?
About 25% of our students are from the South Florida area, and 75% are from Central and South America.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have you guys run into unexpected challenges that you didn't foresee prior to actual initial enrollment?
Not really. So everything has been going according to plan, and it's been staying on track to meet our objectives.
That's good to hear. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, then, commissioners, any additional discussion, or is there any public comment on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept Stackworth recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you for being here. Congrats on a successful implementation.
Thank you, commissioners.
Have a good day.
There is one item in section D, and Active Health Institute Miami number 3430. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is Mark Murray, Legal Counsel for Active Health Institute. And the owner, unfortunately, Ms. Brejo, is unable to make the meeting. And there was the consultant was going to appear, Hema Nieto. I just got a text from her and she's stuck in traffic. So I'm the only one here.
Well, thanks for being here, Counselor. Counselor, do you know if anyone from the school has comment or updates or anything on what is a rather lengthy staff recommendation?
No, I spoke with them about it yesterday evening. They understand the staff recommendation. There's no disputing it. They've had to change their accountant several times, so they're in the process of finalizing the 2023 fiscal year financial, and then obviously going to jump right into the 2024. They didn't think there would be any problem getting that turned in within the time allotted in the contingencies, which will probably ultimately be between 40 and 60 days from today. And as far as the Board of Nursing stuff, they've got to get their passage rates up. They're moving the right direction. They had 100% first quarter. They actually are closer to a 60, I think, percent is what they were thinking for second quarter. They've had several miscodes that were just corrected with NCSBN. So they anticipate being up, quite a bit for this year, hopefully enough to get them off of probation.
Just as an aside, the longer the delay on those financials, the more behind the eight ball you remain with trailing, us hitting the end of 2024 and still waiting on audited 2023. Those are just going to compound and get more complicated because this runs until July 31st. So I don't have to tell you how quickly it's going to go by, right? Between 7 months from now and still be trailing back a year and a half. So,
yeah, that was a focal point in my discussion with them, and the first question that I figured you all would ask.
Yeah, well, you can't manage what you don't measure, and right now they're not measuring, so it's difficult to understand what their performance looks like, how liquid they are, how that's contributing to student outcomes. Maybe there's parity between that and the drop off in the NCLEX. We don't know, and we need that information.
Sure.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Commissioners, additional discussion?
Yeah, Chair, I wanted to ask where they're at with obtaining institutional accreditation.
They are at the last bit of securing ABHES accreditation. I believe it's ABHES. So institutional accreditation, they're right on the cusp of that. They're going to be tight on their deadline for programmatic accreditation. They can get in there if everything goes smoothly, but I mean, it's going to be significant to them to get off of probation and at least get that 60% passage rate so that they can get the extension on programmatic accreditation deadline.
Do you know where they're at with the third quarter? I know it's not public yet, but do you know how they're tracking for third quarter?
Do not. That's why I was hoping that I was really hoping that Hema would be here for that because she has a much better indication. I don't know exactly where they are. Well, we can certainly we can provide that information.
I'm okay. I just figured they probably do know. Everyone knows. So I'm just curious to know what it is and how it's tracking.
Oh yeah, they're highly focused on it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Commissioners, anything further? Public comment? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Okay. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Staff recommendation carries. Thanks, Mark, for being here. Appreciate your time.
Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Section E for application for extension of annual license, there are none. Section F, application for annual renewal. I had this written as 28, but it says 25 in my book.
It is, the book is incorrect. You are correct in that there is 28.
Cool. So I will screw this up if I don't read it. Hold on. Is there a motion to consider Section F items 1 through 28 by consent?
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to take the section by consent passes. We'll ask you guys if you have any you would like to pull. I think the executive director has one. Dr. Stefano?
Could you come back to me?
Yes, sir. Commissioner Cross?
Thank you.
The book number 7. So I don't know if that's still number 7 in the digital.
City College Hollywood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Commissioner Whitaker?
And book number 10.
I guess that might be Hagen. Apologies if I mispronounced that.
Hagen, and then number 12, Horizon Healthcare Institute.
Yep.
Number 13, Chetmap School of Nursing. I believe that is it for me. Yes.
Commissioner Cross, do you still need a moment? I mean, not Cross, I'm sorry, Stefano.
No, actually, those are the same ones I have marked, so none additional.
I believe the director has number 22. Are there any others, Director?
None other than 22, please.
Okay, well, let's see if I can get this right then. Is there a motion to accept staff recommendations on items 1 through 6, 8, 9, 11, 14 through 21, and 23 to 28?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. We can back up to number 7, which is City College Hollywood, number 67. If you are here from that institution, please unmute, raise your digital hand, and introduce yourself.
Commissioner, again, good morning. This is Bob Harris on behalf of City College.
Awesome. All right. Commissioners, you got questions for Mr. Harris?
Mr. Harris, I just wanted to get an update on how the teach out was going.
Yeah.
Yeah, the commission staff is receiving regular updates. I am as well. It's going well. There are dates depending upon the program for completion, but right now it's going very well. With any other teach out, there are occasional situations where students are looking for transcripts for those that are moving on to other institutions, those who are trying to complete their studies. So right now things are going very well. The staff is staying on top of things. And again, we've had a meeting with the commission staff to make sure they understand everything that's going on. So right now it's going well.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Commissioners, any further discussion? Any public comment? Mr. Harris, we appreciate you being here. I think we can probably ask for a motion to accept staff recommendations for number 7, City College, number 67, City College.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thanks again, Bob.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir.
All right, number 10, perhaps Hagen, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Hagen International College, Orlando, number 5486. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, again, this is Bob Harris, counsel for Hodgin International.
You're like a bad penny today.
Yeah, well, that looks like that'll end right after this one, so I'm good.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Commissioner Whitaker, I think you were hoping to have a discussion about this.
Yes, I would just like to get an update on their NCLEX pass rates and their standing with the Florida Board of Nursing.
Yeah, I think I'm hoping Ms. Paul is on the line. Ms. Paul?
Yes, hi, good morning. My name is Nano Paul, school administrator.
Ms. Paul, can you answer the commissioner's question about the update on the NCLEX and where you are with the Board of Nursing, please?
Yes, what we're doing now, we have we implemented a couple programs for the students for us to improve the passing rates. we have ATI green light, and we also do UWorld as well to improve our passing rates. Hopefully, by the next quarter, we should be up.
And are you on probation with the Florida Board of Nursing, or are you in good standing?
We still in good standing with the Board of Nursing, yes.
Okay. Okay, we'll look forward to see the progress report in 2025. Hopefully you'll continue to improve those NCLEX scores.
Yes, yes.
Commissioner, we will make sure that the staff is kept up to date on the progress, both the third quarter and of course in the fourth quarter comes out right around January 17th. But we'll make sure the commission staff knows exactly where we are with test scores and with the Board of Nursing.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any further discussion or public comment on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you guys for being here today.
Okay. Thank you all.
Thank you for having us.
I believe we are at number 12, Horizon Healthcare Institute, Port Charlotte, number 4378. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, good morning. This is Courtney Robinson, President for Horizon Healthcare Institute, Port Charlotte campus.
Good morning, Mr. Robinson.
Good morning.
I do have a first question here. I know Port Charlotte bore the brunt of the surge that came in both through Helene and Milton. How did you guys weather that?
The building, perfect, but you know, the neighborhood, they suffer a lot.
How about the students? Do you feel like the students were derailed from their matriculation?
We had closed the school for 3 days between both storms. Yeah, so they're fine. We keep in contact with them online, you know, through our learning program. So, you know, we had, you know, constant contact all the time with the students.
Good.
Yes.
Well, three days is not terrible. That sounds like it could have been worse.
It could have been much worse because, you know, a lot of the neighborhood were flooded out. You know, people, you know, have a lot of property damage. So it could have been much worse for the institution.
Commissioner Whitaker, did you have something specific for Horizon?
Yeah, it's just again, if they're just meeting the standards of the Board of Nursing.
Oh, yes, for the 2023 report, you know, for the PN program, we had 100% passing. For the LPN to RN associate program, we had 100% passing also. And for the CNA program, we had 100% passing for 2023. In the last 2 quarters, for the PN program, we sent 2 individuals and they have been successful. For the associate the LPN to RN, we just send off an applicant, one. We are expecting the person to be tested in the next 30 days. And then for the PN program, we so far have had about a 90% passing so far.
Oh, that's great. Congratulations.
Commissioners, may I ask a question?
Sure.
We also wanted to seek the status of your accreditation. I know you're in the process, but can you give the commissioners an update on that process, please?
What happened is we had started the process and then we started over with ABES again. This time we have everything together. We are looking institutional accreditation through them, and we are looking for the Port Charlotte campus. We are not, the expiration would be in I think March of 2026. So we are on time to get the accreditation.
Thank you. And then can you remind me, are any of your programs online or are they all in person?
All in person,
Okay.
but that's something that we're looking to maybe change after we get the annual renewal.
Okay. Thank you.
And just to make a quick point here, I know you guys are digging yourselves out of the storms just like everyone, but 120 days prior to March 31st of next year is only about 6 or 7 weeks away. And
I know. I'm aware of it. It's on my calendar. So, and thanks for staff for advising me of it. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, just wanted to point that out because it could sneak up on you very quickly.
I know. And I really appreciate the highlights.
Okay.
Yes.
No pressure. All right. Commissioners, anything further? Any public comment on this matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for being here today, sir. Good luck.
Not a problem. And I just
You're
want to
wonderful.
thank Christopher DeSalvo. He made the process so seamless. You have a valued staff. Thank you.
We keep hearing that about Mr. DeSalvo over and over. Thank you
great.
for it.
He's really great.
No doubt.
Okay.
Enjoy your day. Thank you for being here.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right, I think we're on 13, pulled by Commissioner Whitaker, Jet Map School of Nursing, Miami Gardens, number 5018. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Mio Damon, and I'm the campus director. I'm here along with our legal counsel, Mark Murray. I have Dr. Aurelius Damon, he's our campus director, and Dr. Ivanessa George, our admission director. And good morning once again, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. Commissioner Whitaker, I'm confident you had questions about the ongoing NCLEX passage rates, et cetera. The floor is yours.
Yes, I just wanted to get an update. I know you have a progress report due January 2025, May 2025 commission meetings. Just want to see where you are with implementing some of those strategies, as well as where you are with accreditation. I know it's tough to get accreditation when passage rates are low. So I just hoping to get an update.
Okay, for our passing rate, we've seen great improvement since we have implemented the new strategies with the new test plan. So for the LPN, we have 100% passing rate so far. We still missing the third quarter report. For our LPN, the rates are improving 83 and 66.7. So we hope to see improvement in the third quarter report with our tutoring on campus, ongoing tutoring, and implementing the new testing plan in our leadership and transition class. And in regards to accreditation, we have our last accreditation visit this week, Thursday and Friday with ABHES.
And is that going well?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I heard you say you have a visit with your accreditation.
Yes, this week, Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
They are coming to campus.
Okay, I think that's it for me. If anyone else has anything.
I do not. Commissioners, any further discussion? Any public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having us. And I also want to take time to thank Ms. Barbara Davis for her insight. She's been a wonderful staff on our side. Thank you so much.
Thank you for that. I would like to make a quick note that I guess I've been on this body for a couple of years now, and I have never heard so much positive feedback on CIE staff and the supportive and seamless nature that they've been helping our licensees with. And Director, I just had to say that out loud. It's probably been said 8 or 9 times today. I think that's awesome.
Thank you. They are a great group of people and one that I am honored to work alongside. So I am glad that they are getting the recognition that they deserve.
No doubt. I think the last pulled was number 22, Director, which was yours.
That is correct.
Okay, then we are South College Orlando Learning Site. Number 9051, if you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Yes, this is James McCoy, Campus President, South College Orlando Learning Site.
Good morning, Mr. McCoy.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Commissioners.
Director, the floor is yours for that.
Good morning, Mr. McCoy. So this is an update to staff recommendation. The staff recommendation as currently written has a contingency related to the submission of an updated faculty listing form to include the current license information for all instructors. That has been satisfied. So I am recommending removing that contingency and instead of the current staff recommendation to grant the annual license, which shall remain active and valid through September 30th, 2025, and order the institution to make timely and sufficient application for renewal of the license by submitting a complete application materials and fees or an extension thereof no later than 120 days prior to September 30th, 2025.
Mr. McCoy, do you have any comments or questions about that?
No, thank you. I have none. I appreciate the recommendation, and I will also comment that we're very happy and feel very supported by commission staff and Ashley Sheck and all of the. So we're very fortunate to be able to work with such a good group.
Thank you for that. Commissioners, anything additional? Public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the staff recommendation as noted by the director?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thanks for being here, Mr. McCoy.
Thank you, sir. Y'all have a great day.
You too. All right. It looks like we are section G, application for license by means of accreditation. There are 2 that we will take individually. The first being Babson College, Miami, number 5832. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
Good morning. This is Beth Bristol, Associate Dean of Babson College, and I'm joined by some colleagues on the line as well. Kevin and Carla, are you there?
Good morning, Kevin Sullivan, Vice President of Corporate Engagement and Off-Campus Relations.
Good morning, Carla Curiel. I'm the Director of Babson College here in Miami.
Thank you all for being here this morning. Congratulations on your accreditation here. I know everyone navigates this chicken and the egg process a little bit. Commissioners, do you have questions or comments? I have none either. Any public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to grant or excuse me, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you all for being here. Easy peasy.
We
Thank
would
you
like
so
to
very
thank your
much.
staff as well.
Yes, a
Thank
huge
you.
thanks to Charity Davis. She's been such a treasure to us. We appreciate the partnership and collaboration.
Awesome. We'll make sure that she gets those kudos and the rest of the staff as well. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and thank you for being here and being patient.
Thanks
Thank
so
you.
much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, 2 within Section G, FBI School of Nursing and Technology, Miramar, number 6010. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself. Do we have no one?
We do have 2 individuals on the line.
Hi.
Good morning, Denise Antunes, Chief Administrative Officer for FEI School of Nursing and Technology.
Good morning, Commissioners. Carlos Rodanes, Regulatory Affairs and Federal Programs. Thank you for having us.
Thank you both for being here. Do either of you have questions or comments on the staff recommendations before us?
Not at this time.
Okay, great. It looks as if we were placement improvement and delivery methods only outstanding.
And those were all provided to our program specialists prior to the September scheduled meeting.
Yep. Ours all kind of dragged. There's always a little bit of an overlap between the cutoff, and I have no doubt that you submitted. I think these were probably written prior to that cutoff date. So it means the next time around, we'll have those right where we need them.
Thank
If there, commissioners, do you have any questions or comments? Any public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendation?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? That motion carries. Congratulations, guys. Staff recommendations are adopted. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioners.
Section H, annual review of license by means of accreditation. We do have 20. And do I have a motion to accept these items by consent?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We'll now go through each commissioner to see if there are items you want to pull. Commissioner Cross, do you have any?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Commissioner Whitaker?
I do not.
Commissioner Stefano?
None at this time.
Give me just 1 second and I will tell you if I do. Let me see which ones I circled here. Nope. I have none. Director, do you have any?
I do not.
Okay, then do I have a motion to accept staff recommendation for section H items 1 through 20?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Staff recommendations are adopted. Section H, items 1 through 20, which moves us to I. There are 2 that we are not planning to take individually. Do I have a motion to accept these 2 by consent?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Then, Commissioner Cross, would you like to pull either of these 2?
No.
Commissioner Whitaker,
No, thank you.
Mr. Stefano.
No, at this time.
All right. Then do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations for section 9, numbers 1 and 2?
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Section I, number 1 and 2, to adopt staff recommendations, which moves us to section J, motion for extension of license. We are going to look for a motion to accept these 7 by consent. Do I have a motion for that?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries by consent. Give me a moment here. Let me look through while you guys see if there's some that you would like to pull as well. All right. Commissioner Cross, do you have any you want to pull out of these 7?
I do not.
Commissioner Whitaker?
I do not.
Commissioner Stefano?
None at this time.
Director?
I do not.
Okay. I have none either. Then do I have a motion to accept staff recommendation for section J, items 1 through 7?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries to accept staff recommendation, section J, numbers 1 through 7. That moves us to K, which there is only 1, so we'll take this individually. Imaraza College, Fort Pierce, number 4596, which is the request for extension of time to comply. And if you are here from that institution, please unmute, raise your digital hand, and introduce yourself.
Hey again, commissioners, this is attorney Mark Murray, legal counsel for Imaraza College. Dr. Emily, the owner, is unable to make it.
Fair enough. Counselor, do you have questions or comments about staff recommendations?
No, I like staff recommendation.
Okay, well, good to know. I guess it's important to note that, that date is pretty quick, right?
It is, and I double checked with Audra Kinney, who is the accreditation consultant. I checked with her yesterday evening to make sure that that was still the time limit that we'd be able to make, and she said yes.
Yeah, like 3 weeks from now, right? A little more maybe, but
yeah.
Okay.
Everything has been submitted, the application. Basically, when you do initial accreditation, ABHES won't approve programs that you don't have enrollments in. So they had to wait till they had the approval to submit the application to have that program included. That application has been submitted for a while now, and they're just waiting on ABHES to grant it.
The proverbial chicken and egg.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Commissioners, do you have discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations, section K, Imaraza College, Fort Pierce?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Staff recommendation carries. Thanks for being here, Counselor.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. L is substantive change approval. It says 3 in my book, but I think it's 2. And we're going to do those individually. Do I have that wrong, Director?
No, that is correct. There are 3 original. The last one has decided to relinquish their license, and so they will not be considered.
Number 3, you mean?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Then let's start with number 1. Dominium Institute, Fort Myers, number 10325. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute yourself, and introduce yourself. Do we have anyone here from that institution?
We do. And we do have an update too to the staff recommendation while we await the individuals to join. And so the update for the Dominium Institution, number 10325, this institution has withdrawn their application for their new program, that RN to BSN 120 credit hour bachelor's program. And it is still, they are still having program modifications to their nursing 72 credit hours associate in science and their practical nursing 1350 hours and diploma. So the staff recommendation is changing to grant approval of the hybrid synchronous delivery for the theory courses only within the nursing AS and the practical nursing diploma programs.
And those aren't new programs, Director, right? Those are just modifications.
That is correct. They are just modifications to the originally existing programs.
Forgive me, Director, that sounded like what you just read was exactly as it is written in the book. So can you help me clarify the change?
Yes, so the first sentence stays, but the second sentence, there was finding that a sub-change in credentials has occurred. None of that is now applicable because they withdrew the application for the RN to BSN program.
Gotcha.
So it just ends after the first sentence.
Fair enough.
So it's no longer a sub-change, but because they withdrew after they were in the sub-change section, they're still in the sub-change section, but they are no longer a sub-change.
Fair enough. I wish someone was here. I'd be interested to hear how, I mean, I know Lee County and Fort Myers took it on the chin down there too. I'd love to hear what's going on with their ability to recover, but.
I believe they do have an individual on the line.
Oh, is that the case?
Yes.
Hello?
Can you unmute yourself, please? It does appear that you're unmuted, but we're unable to hear you. It appears they may be experiencing technical difficulties.
Okay. Well, but just for the record, I was going to inquire because I know Fort Myers bore the brunt of a couple of those storms, and I just want to inquire how that was going because all of our information is obviously trailing and, you know, peripheral to the staff recommendations. But commissioners, do you have any additional discussion? Public comment? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations?
The modified staff, the grant approval of the hybrid synchronous delivery for the theory courses only within the nursing AS and practical nursing diploma programs. Yeah, so moved.
Yeah, as noted.
Second.
Get moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Staff recommendations as noted. Number 2, I say within L, International Institute for Healthcare Professionals Incorporated, BOCA 3121. If you are here from that institution, please raise your digital hand, unmute, and introduce yourself.
We do not have anyone on the line.
All right. Commissioners, any discussion? Director, do you have anything revised or changed about staff recommendations?
There are no changes to staff recommendations. This is a recommendation for sub-change due to the institution's nursing AS program on probation with the Florida Board of Nursing.
Fair enough. Then do I have any additional discussion or public comment on the matter? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept staff recommendations as noted?
So moved.
Moved.
Second.
Perhaps seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Staff recommendations are adopted. We are skipping item 3 there. Not skipping, but it was withdrawn. And moving to M, branch campus applications. There are none. N, there are none. And section O, religious colleges sworn affidavits submitted. I have 47 in the book. It says 48, so I'm assuming there has been one pulled. And do I have a motion to take these items by consent?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to take these items by consent carries. Let's see. We'll go through and find out if there's any you want to discuss individually. Commissioner Cross?
None.
Commissioner Whitaker?
I think I will defer to staff on this.
Fair enough. Commissioner Stefano?
So I believe that there are a number of programs that upon staff review did not meet the statutory requirements related to religious modifiers in their degree programs. I will defer to staff for correction, but if my notes are correct, that would be numbers 4, 8, 9, 13, 14, 21, and 37. Dr. Hurst, could you comment, correct, amend?
Yes, I can amend that just slightly. So for the record, number 14 has withdrawn their application. That is why there are now only 47 in the section, and your original documents show 48. So 14, which is European American University and Theological Seminary in Weston, that is withdrawn. The remaining the remaining to be pulled are number 4, number 8, number 9, number 21, and number 36.
So does that mean we are not 37 or number 13?
So number 37 does not need to be pulled. The two, because they're so close to each other, the St. Francis and St. Thomas, I think they just got mixed up. But number 36, St. Francis of Assisi International, is the one that we would be looking at for their program names.
And Dr. Stefano, you mentioned number 13, but
I'm sorry, and number 13 as well. I do apologize. I just skipped right over them.
Okay. So let me make sure I got this right. Numbers 4, 8, 9, 13, 21, and 36.
That is correct. And while they do not need to be pulled, just a correction on the documents. Number 44, the Western Orthodox University Faculties of Theology and Church Music Weston has submitted a name change, and that has gone through our process for the affidavits. It is now just going to be known as the Western Orthodox University. So no need to pull them, just a correction on their name on your agenda.
And for the others, are we going to pull them individually for discussion?
So typically when we do the religious affidavits, the commissioners will go through, they will choose the ones that they would like to pull from consideration at this time for the approvals. Then the rest of them will be voted on. And then those that are pulled, the commission staff will go back to those particular institutions and request them to provide an explanation or correction for some of the items that we're seeing. I can tell you for number 4, number 8, number 9, number 13, and number 36, there were concerns with program names lacking religious modifiers. And for number 21, there were concerns with the name of the institution lacking a religious modifier.
Agreed. Okay. Then I suppose we're looking for, let me make sure I get this right. We're going to look for two motions, one to accept those that we did not note, and one for staff to follow up with the necessary compliance for religious modifiers and or programs. And is that what we're going to end up with? Two different motions for those that were and were not compliant?
Yeah, so a motion to accept all of those that were not pulled.
Okay.
So I think it comes down to one motion, essentially, and the follow-up is done by default with the ones that are not included in the motion.
Yep.
That is correct.
You're right. Okay. Then, let me see if I can get this right the first time. Do I have a motion to accept items 1 through 3, 5 through 7, 10 through 12, excluding 14, 15 through 20, 22 through 35, and 30, excluding 37, 38 through 48 as noted, and by default, staff to follow up with the compliance requirements of 4, 8, 9, 13, 21, and 36.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Proud of myself there.
Good
All in
job.
favor?
Is that format for the motion sufficient for purposes? Just like legal counsel to give the rubber stamp.
It is sufficient.
Okay, great, thank you. So we have a first and second. All in favor? Aye.
Yep. Any opposed? All right. Motion carries for section O. And section P, agent training programs, we have none, which moves us into item 7 for final orders. Scroll here.
And just for the record, for clarification, for the final orders, the sub-change, the item number 3 and the sub-change section, which was Nursing Bridges Institute in Pensacola, number 6138, that was removed because they have relinquished their license, and that has been moved as a write-in to your finals order page, and the commissioner should have received the packet related to that final order as well.
Okay. All right, so then we take these 5, not 6 items. Is there a motion to take those 5 items?
There are 6 items. Number 6 is Nursing Bridges Institute, number 6138.
I'm sorry. Okay. 5 on my paper, 6 in my heart. Okay. Then do I have a motion to accept these 6 items by consent?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Individually, commissioners, would you like to pull and/or discuss final orders on any of these 6, Commissioner Cross?
I do not.
Commissioner Whitaker?
I do not.
Commissioner Stefano?
I do not.
Director, would you or council need to address any of the final orders among those 6?
We do not.
Then do we have a motion? Let me get this right. Do we have a motion to accept staff recommendations on items 1 through 6 for section 7?
To be clear, the motion is to adopt the final orders.
Thank you for that, Counselor. Okay, then do I have a motion to adopt the final orders for items 1 through 6 within section 7?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion to adopt final orders for items 1 through 6 within section 7 carries, which moves us to section 8, which would be recess, unless, Director, you have anything else on your agenda that is not on my list.
Yes, I have one other item. So for the final orders that you just approved or adopted, could you please make a motion to designate the authority to sign the final orders to the acting commission chair? I know we did it for the one at the very beginning of the meeting for vocational training, but if we could do it for this section too, I would greatly appreciate it.
Okay, then we need a motion to say that one more time.
A motion to designate the authority to sign the final orders to the acting commission chair.
So a motion to designate the authority to sign the final orders to acting commission chair. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And Director, can I ask the question about what the requirements are on the timeliness on the execution of those signatures? Because it sounds like I or one of the other commissioners would need to get that done with you guys sometime soon.
So the timeliness will be fine. We we do have a process in place for which to ensure that those are signed in a timely manner.
Okay, fair enough. Then if commissioners, I'd open the floor for anything you'd like to close out with before we recess.
I do have one question about the committee that will review credentials, the medical committee that was discussed earlier. What is the process for that at this point?
So what will happen now? So now that this committee has been appointed by the commission, when we have a foreign medical application that needs to be reviewed by this committee, we will reach out to the committee. We will request a meeting date for them. Those 3 individuals will review the application and they will provide a written report related to their recommendations for that application, and then that will go in front of the commissioners.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. And then the only other comment that I have is I just want to echo and reinforce the recognition that was given to staff throughout the meeting. I just think that's something really important, and I just want to share my appreciation for the leadership that's currently leading CIE and for the amazing work the staff is doing. So thank you.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, you know, it's all too often governmental and municipal bodies see themselves as gatekeepers and not facilitators. And I think it's awesome, culturally speaking, that the feedback that Dr. Stefano is referring to there has been one of, in the spirit of collaboration between the CIE and those who have a meaningful desire to create positive student outcomes. And it's awesome. You know, there's just no way around to say culture is binary and you're either in or out. And it's interesting over the past couple of years when I've been on this body to see culturally one and in the spirit of collaboration that is really focused on those student outcomes. So yeah, echoing that same thought, and it's my pleasure on days like this to be able to engage with the licensees and the staff and the executive director. So thank you for all for being here today. I believe that puts us to recess unless I am incorrect. Otherwise, we will recess until tomorrow at 9 a.m. And that would be the end of day 1 for the agenda. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you.